The federal bureaucracy plays a crucial role in policy implementation and regulation, but it is often criticized for inefficiency, lack of accountability, and red tape. Presidents, Congress, and the courts work to keep bureaucratic power in check while ensuring government functions effectively. The bureaucracy refers to the vast network of government agencies, departments, commissions, and officials responsible for implementing and enforcing laws and policies. It operates under the executive branch, but is influenced by Congress and the courts. Hierarchical authority, a clear chain of command. Specialization agencies focus on specific tasks. Formal rules and procedures, standard operating procedures ensure consistency. Merit-based employment, civil service jobs are given based on qualifications. Impersonality bureaucrats apply rules impartially. The largest organizations in the bureaucracy, each headed by a secretary except the Department of Justice, led by the Attorney General. Examples: State Department handles foreign relations, Defense Department manages the military, Treasury Department manages financial policies. Independent executive agencies function much like cabinet departments, but without the cabinet status. For example, NASA focuses on space exploration. The EPA, or Environmental Protection Agency, enforces environmental laws, and the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, handles intelligence gathering. Independent regulatory commissions are agencies that enforce rules and regulations in specific industries. They operate with more independence, meaning Congress and the President have limited control over them. A prime example is the Federal Reserve, often referred to as the Fed, which regulates monetary policy. The SEC, or Securities and Exchange Commission, regulates stock markets. Meanwhile, the FCC, or Federal Communications Commission, oversees media and broadcasting regulation. Government corporations provide services that could be done by the private sector, but are operated by the government. Examples include the U.S. Postal Service Amtrak, which is the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, and the Tennessee Valley Authority, which provides electricity in rural areas. The bureaucracy turns vague laws into specific policies. For example, Congress might pass an environmental law, and then the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, enforces regulations based on that law. Bureaucratic agencies write rules that have the power of law. For instance, the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, sets health standards for food safety. Bureaucrats interpret and enforce laws based on their judgment. For example, immigration officers decide how to handle specific cases. Executive orders. The President can direct agencies on how to enforce laws. Appointments, the President appoints agency heads and the Senate must confirm them. Reorganization, the President can restructure parts of the bureaucracy. Budget control, the President's Office of Management and Budget influences agency funding. Power of the purse. Congress can cut or increase an agency's funding. Legislation. Congress can change the legal responsibilities of an agency. Hearings and investigations. Congressional committees question agency leaders. Senate confirmation. The Senate must approve top bureaucratic appointments. The courts can rule bureaucratic actions unconstitutional or illegal. For example, a court can block an agency's regulation if it violates the law. Red tape. Excessive rules and procedures slow down decision-making. Bureaucratic inefficiency agencies sometimes waste resources or duplicate efforts. Iron triangle. A relationship between bureaucratic agencies, interest groups, and congressional committees that influences policy. Issue networks. A broader and more fluid network of policymakers, journalists, think tanks, and interest groups. Bureaucrats are expected to remain neutral, but political appointees often bring partisan biases. Pendleton Civil Service Act, 1883, ended the spoils system, jobs based on merit. Hatch Act, 1939, limits political activities of federal employees. Freedom of Information Act, 1966, allows public access to government documents. Whistleblower Protection Act, 1989, protects federal employees who report misconduct.